Good morning, everybody. I'm having one of those days I can't decide what to do, so you know what that means. It's the wheel of misfortune. Interior. Don't know how much interior I can do without glass, but we'll give it a shot. Right, let's see what we can do inside the car. Not really a lot we can do with the cosmetics of the interior, however, this area is still classed as interior, right? So what I'm thinking of doing, the shifter is just a little bit low and a little bit far forward. As one of you pointed out, when you've got a seatbelt on, it's going to be hard to reach forward to grab the gear stick. So the plan is to raise it up a few inches and tilt it back that way. So I need to make a little box, a sort of slanted box for that to sit on. So I think that's what we're going to do. However, before I even do that, I have to get this panel bolted down properly to the floor, because as you can see, that's going to attach to it. And I'll be using my new threaded insert tool to achieve that. So let us take care of that first, and then we'll work on the shifter riser. If you've never used a riv nut tool or a threaded insert tool, let me walk you through that. So this is your basic threaded insert. The idea is you drill a hole, roughly that size, maybe slightly smaller. You don't want it bigger than that hole because then it will spin around. Then you would insert that into the hole, and then you use your tool to basically crimp it together like a rivet would do. Okay, and that locks that in place. Excuse me. And then you can use your whatever bolts, depending on the sizes. They're all different sizes, as you can see. Which leads me to my next major point. Before you go mad drilling holes and threading and putting these inserts in, make sure you've got bolts that fit. I have scoured my garage to find the right size. What I should point out, if you buy a cheap riv nut tool, it's probably going to come with metric inserts. Okay, so all your inch type stuff, 3/8 and all that, probably won't fit. So again, if you are determined to use old school what's the word, imperial, if you're intending to use imperial bolts, don't buy a cheap one, because I guarantee they will all come with M3, M5, M8, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so I have already selected all my bolts to fit my threaded inserts. I've got thicker ones here that I'm going to use for my shifter and possibly my handbrake. The smaller ones I'm going to use for the panels. I can use more of them to even out the force. Right, let's do a little trial on this little piece of steel that I've clamped down to the bench. So the whole point of the whole threaded insert thing is that you don't have access to the underside. So let's say you were doing a floor or a panel on the car, or anywhere really, that you can't get behind to put a nut on. That's where the threaded insert tool comes in. So the first thing I'm going to do is drill a hole, roughly that size, okay? So this is a brand new tool for me, I haven't used it yet, so hopefully it'll work. Right, so now I shall make sure that my insert goes in, and it doesn't. So that drill bit I used was just a little bit small. I'll just open it up a little bit. Okay, I need to find a bigger one. And this is why you do a practice one first. So I'm going to use my stepper drill bit now. And what I'll probably do is once I find the right size, I'll just mark it with a bit of white paint, just so I know how deep to go. So I need to go one step further. Make that 2 steps further. Well. So if this fits, I'll mark that stepper. Okay. It's a wee bit loose, but we'll give it a try anyway, see if it works. Right, next thing. Your tool will come with different size adapters, which are actually reverse screwed in. That'll make sense when you try to remove this. So you screw that on there, insert the tool, and squeeze it like a rivet. And then this will unscrew from your insert. And then let's say you were inserting a bracket to this panel. You now have that to screw in. This would be easier if I had a ratchet. And that's how your threaded insert tool works. So you don't need any access from underneath. Okay, now I know that works. Move over to the car and do the floor. That went not too bad. I do have one here that's out of alignment. I just need to elongate that hole a little bit. Everything else is fitting nicely. So now I can put my shifter in and work out exactly how to make this riser. Right, onto the riser. I'm going to make a very basic riser out of 18 gauge steel. It's going to look kind of like that. So it's going to come up 2 inches at the back, 4 inches at the front, which means instead of that sitting there, it will sit higher by 2 inches and another 2 inches at the top. So if you look at where the top of the gear stick is, instead of being down there, it will be up there. Quite a big difference. So that's in park at the moment, so it is quite far forward. Right, I will transfer these measurements onto a bit of cardboard, make a template, and then hopefully I'm going to try and bend it all in one shot on my metal bender. I've forgotten what it's called. Metal bender, let's just call it a sheet metal bender. Leave a comment, remind me what it's actually called. Right, template is made. It's a wee bit fiddly trying to figure out the angles just by dreaming it up, but I think that's about right. So that will sit about there, and that should sit right there. Cool. So Now I just transfer that onto metal, cut it out, and then figure out how I bend it. It's a very specific procedure of what you do first. You know what I'll do? I'll cut it out in metal first, and then I'll kind of do a test with the cardboard template on the metal bender. Metal bender. Finger press? No, I don't know. I still don't know what it's called. Right, let me cut that out. Right, that's the easy part done. So I had the foresight to drill the holes which is going to attach it to the floor before I bend it. And if you're wondering what this is, it actually sits over the bolt, or one of the bolts for the seat runners, so I had to take that into account. Right, as I say, that's the easy part. I'll just clean up these edges, and then we'll head over to the metal press. I can't remember. Unfortunately, it looks like it's not possible to make that shape on this in one go. So I may have to do these bits. It's just that that is narrower than the distance I've got in there. I might be able to add a spacer, but we'll see. The main thing is to get these angles nice and rounded, because that's what you're going to see, if you're going to see it at all. There will be gaiters and stuff going on, so let's see how we get on. It looks nice so far. Right, so this bit here, because that isn't deep enough, I can't get all the way into the bend, which kind of sucks. Yeah. Can I go that way? No, it has to bend the other way. Dang. Need to think about this one. Right, I have a solution, and you're probably going to hate it. Now, I could just do this in the vise, but I've got a better idea. Well, I don't know if it's a better idea. I'm going to cut a notch out of this. It doesn't need to be that deep anyway. It's this section here that does all the work. So all I have to do, there'll actually be 2 notches. There'll be a notch here, probably about there, up to about there, except straight, and that will allow that to come in. I'll get a ruler. And then the same on the other side for doing that one. That's the worst that can happen, eh? It's my tool, do what I want with it. Right, close your eyes, this is going to be horrible. That was fairly horrific. Let's see if it works, or if I've just destroyed my metal press, sheet metal. So that can now slide in there, and then I put my big metal bar on. Oops. Awesome. Right, so hopefully we now have a completed riser. Looks pretty good to me. I think that'll do just fine. The only thing I'll need to do is I'll need to notch a little bit here for the cable, because as you can see the angle of the cable is going to take it down into this section here. No biggie, and then the cable will continue in there somewhere. So I'll mark the 4 holes to attach that. No, I won't. I'll attach the 4 holes to attach that first and make sure that that's in the right place on the floor. Then mark the 4 holes and use my good old rib nut tool. But I've got enough room for my handbrake, so that's not a problem. Right, let me get all this attached and then I'll throw the chairs in and see how it all feels. I have cut my little notch in there, I've cut my hole in there for the shifter cable, but before I reassemble I did remember to plumb in my vacuum modulator hard pipe. In there, goes up to the top. So let's reassemble. Let's see if all my hard work was worthwhile. Gear stick certainly looks a lot higher than it did, which is nice, but can I reach everything without fouling things. Hold on. So, handbrake. As I say, I knew it was going to hit this anyway, but there's no room for, you couldn't get your hand in there, you know, so it had to go down there. And it's just rubbing a little bit, and only if you pull it all the way up. Plenty of room there. Gear stick, it's in park. So this is me sitting normal drive. Without leaning forward, I can just about reach it from park. Reverse, neutral, drive. So that's much nicer. So I'm glad you guys persuaded me to make that little riser. Unfortunately now my cable is very visible, so now I need to think of a way to hide that. Might make another little tower with cup holders or something like that, a little ducat for putting phones and money in. Like I've got any money left. Okay, that's us. Well, that was a fairly successful day. I got done exactly what I wanted to get done. Now tomorrow, the final part of my steering linkage is supposed to arrive. The U-joint for the Mustang 2 steering rack. That's the only part I'm waiting for. And that's the only reason that these seats are not hiding away at the moment, because I need the driver's seat in order to line up the steering wheel. If that doesn't arrive tomorrow, then I will be plumbing in my fuel tank. I need to cut a hole in the back, and yeah, I need to cut another hole in the back for the fuel filler neck that I'm going to construct. So that's tomorrow. So thank you for watching, and tune in tomorrow. Please subscribe. Bye bye.